Well, this is a very beautiful spot. Come over here, Steve. Okay. Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, a board explorer, and this is Steve Needham. Hello, Steve.
Good morning, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very, very well. You got me here to look at this wonderful little spot here in East Sussex, near Plumpton, between
Plumpton and East Chiltern.
And East Chiltington, because something rather grim has landed on your doorstep.
Unfortunately so, yes. There is a proposal for there to be 3,250 houses where we're standing right now.
And that's something which regular viewers know that I am always concerned about. A whole load of new builds on our rural farmland. Who's behind it?
The land is currently owned by Eton College.
Eton College in London, of which our Prime Ministers have come from generations.
That's correct, and including our current Prime Minister.
Yes.
They're planning to, hoping to sell this land, 400 acres, so they can build a small town, a medium-sized town of, as I say, 3,250 houses.
That's 3,250 houses in one fell swoop?
Over the course of about 20 years.
Oh, okay. So but once it's allocated, that's it. It's gonna, once you get to that point.
There would be no turning back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is currently farmland with public footpaths going through.
That's correct, yeah, this is Bridleway we're standing right next to at the moment, yeah.
Surrounded by very narrow country lanes.
Very single track with passing places, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, this would change beyond recognition. This wouldn't look like this anymore. It would be a medium-sized town.
Yeah, and this is the story that's happening all over the country. I mean, particularly in Sussex, we've had a hell of a lot. I mean, we'll talk about the other places perhaps in this, just to give comparison. But let's have a little stroll around.
Great idea, let's do that.
Which way, that way?
Yeah, let's go this way.
Brilliant. It is very peaceful, isn't it, Steve?
Incredibly. I mean, all I can hear is birdsong.
Yeah, because it won't be if they get their way and start building on here. So here's a question for you then. I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. Okay. What about the whole NIMBYism thing? Not in my backyard.
Yeah, and that's a valid argument, and it's one that I've heard. I don't think anybody's particularly opposed to building per se. But building on this scale and wiping out the identity of three individual villages as they are at the moment, Plumpton, East Chiltington and
because
Bailey.
It pretty much not precisely, but it pretty much links them all together.
It does, yeah. And so their identities would be lost forever and just swallowed up by this enormous town, and they would just become suburbs of that town.
Yes. And I said at the beginning of this bit, it's peaceful. This thing you said is going to take 20 years.
Could take up to 20 years, yeah.
So that's a lot of infrastructure happening with vehicles and the building and affecting the roads around here just to build the place.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, never mind when it's actually built and there's the traffic going in and out of it every day.
Yeah. On a sunny day, I can imagine a spot like this would just look absolute. I mean, it looks lovely now, but you can imagine on a sunny day looking down at the downs and the sheep and all of that and the crops. It's a magical place.
It really is. It's fabulous, and yeah, it feels like you can see it as far as the eye can see, almost, if that makes sense.
So, who do you think? I mean, I'm just trying to get the scale of 300 odd acres and a whole new town. Who's going to live here? What type of people?
It's hard to say.
I mean, presumably a broad spectrum, I imagine.
Yeah, you would think so. You would think they would have to have a number of affordable housing built.
Yeah.
But that, I guess, would be probably at the bare minimum, no doubt, because they want to maximise the profits. So,
but locally, when you think of villages and new builds being built, very often seems to me that, and talking to some people who lived in the village all their life, their children can't afford to live in the new builds. And I wonder if the villages around here that people are going to be the people who live in this place, they're the children of people here, or is it going to be a commuter town?
You'd like to think that it would be appealing and accessible to people, local people, but I would imagine it's going to be a commuter town.
Right.
There's talk of the station being a good asset in some of the words that have come out so far from the.
And I know I looked at the station just before we met up, and I went over and had a look. It's a very lovely little station with the signal box there and the crossing and all of that. But it's a very small village station. It's not like Horsham or Chichester or Brighton or anything like that. It's not a big station for a commuter town, is it?
No, that's right. No, it's not. So there would need to be expanded quite radically.
Yeah, that will make an impact. But how do you get to all these places? Commuting. We said before, it's surrounded by very narrow lanes that passing places are in the side. I mean, when I drove up to East Chiltington the other week in my van, I was very concerned that where am I going to pull over when somebody's coming the other way?
That's right. I imagine it would involve widening the roads.
Yeah, we have to, wouldn't it?
And altering the character of the place forever.
Yeah. So it's a huge concern, and so you've got a group, haven't you? There's a group of people who are concerned about this and trying to, at the moment, get awareness.
That's correct, yes. There's a campaign group called Don't Urbanise the Downs, and we're campaigning for that very thing, to stop the Downs being urbanised. We're not anti-building by any means. We understand there's a need for building, but there's not a need for a new town of 3,250 houses where we're sitting at the moment. No. This is so rural, Steve, isn't it? It's beautiful.
Oak trees and a lovely little junction here. Where is this junction?
We're at the junction of Highbridge Lane and Novington Lane, so we're very, very close to the centre of the plot.
And as you can see, not very busy at all.
No.
And this is not quite in the centre, but it's well within.
Very, very, it's well within
the development area.
Development area, very much
yeah.
So, yeah.
Now, you were telling me whilst in between filming that there's a technical term for this, which is
trip internalisation.
Meaning
that the people that live within the new town will not need to leave the new town because everything they need will be in the new town. So all their jobs, all their amenities, etc., etc. And that's the argument that's been put forward for why this land, or why this area would be suitable. Because our counter-argument is that, the roads aren't up to it.
Yes.
But the argument being put forward by the land developer is that, or the land broker as they are, is that it doesn't matter because no one's ever going to leave.
Right. So a bit like The Prisoner then.
That kind of a thing. But that doesn't explain how they're going to spend 20 years building the place.
No.
Using roads like this as their access.
Oh my goodness. And look, you've got lovely horses and things. Hello. Which is lovely now, but and we've seen cyclists come through, walkers come through, runners come through. When this is one great big town, who's going to want to do that?
I don't suppose anybody is.
No.
I certainly wouldn't.
No.
And I cycle around here a lot at the moment.
Yeah. Well, Steve, I'm hoping that you can keep the bird song, the nature, because we haven't really spoken about what will happen to the nature of the wildlife and things that are here, that once you've suddenly put in 400 and something acres of concrete and houses, even though there may be green spaces and all of that. But is there not another use that Eton College could put this land to? Does it have to be new builds?
I don't believe so, no. I mean, it'd be a fabulous spot for rewilding in the same vein as Knepp Castle.
Rewild it, oh yeah. That would be brilliant.
Wouldn't it?
Because, it's a big thing. It would make Eton College have, in my view, a lot of credibility with being on the side of nature, bit of history, heritage of the animals that we've lost that we're bringing back.
And certainly enhance their green credentials.
Yeah, definitely.
So it would be a very positive step if they took that step.
So if you're watching Eton College, rewilding sounds a much better scheme. Might not make you quite as much money, but gosh, yeah, that would be fantastic.
We would love to see that.
And that would bring plenty of people in. I mean, I know we've been filming here and trying to film around the horses and the cyclists and all of that, who are enjoying the space, and so I've got no objection to that. It's been lovely, but yeah, rewilding would be good.
That would certainly be the most viable or the best option for us, we think.
It's only an idea, I understand.
Yeah, at the moment this is just a concept.
Right.
There's no planning permission being granted or anything. It's a long way off that.
Yes.
So this isn't a fait accompli by any means.
Right. And you hope it not to be.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean,
and having walked around, I can see why. It's such a big. I mean, it's a huge plan, isn't it?
Yeah, it's massive. Yeah, it's a town for those that are local watching this. It's a town roughly the size of Sussex in just across in West Sussex.
Sussex is quite big. And once you've got that sort of thing, they grow.
Yeah, it won't stay that size, but it'll just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then before we know it, it'll be the size of Burgess Hill, and then so it goes on. So
you mentioned the website before. I'll put the link to it in the description, of course, but it's called
Don't Urbanise the Downs. So don'turbanisethedowns.com.
So you can find out about it there. And I will come back and do some of my little walks and explore more of the countryside and the footpaths and things and the nature and all of that. Steve, thank you so much for taking me around.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming over.
No, it's been fantastic. Well, there we are. Do check it out. Follow the website link to see what you think. Be interested in your comments as well. But in the meantime, don't forget to follow, like and subscribe, and give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed the video, and watch some more as I go exploring around. Brilliant. Take care, Steve.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Till next time. Bye-bye.